What up, Laker Nation? It's your boy DTLF back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 favorite players that I hope slip down to the Lakers, who just won a championship, by the way. So shout out to LA, man, city of champs. But we can always blast to the roster, especially since we might have some free agents that are about to bounce or cash in elsewhere. So without further ado, I'm going to be talking about the top sleepers. We all know about Anthony Edwards and all these guys, but who are the guys that may slip through the cracks? Let's start with Kira Lewis Jr., man. This kid was sensational for Alabama. I'm talking shifty, speedy point guard who can get to the basket, shoot, and play make for his teammates. I mean, this guy, he would be dangerous in the NBA, especially with the spacing, the floor spacing, some good shooters around somebody like this guy. I think the Lakers could use somebody like him. You know, he has John Wall type speed, John Morant type speed, maybe not as athletic, maybe not as explosive, but definitely can get to the basket and do some work. Next up, we got the senior, man, Desmond Bay. Now, if you want somebody who's going to come in and maybe get some decent minutes in his rookie season, how about a 4-year player out of TCU? Now, this guy right here, man, he shot lights out. I'm talking 44% from beyond the arc. He's built like a tank. I mean, look at this guy. He has a wonky release, but it's effective. It's a quick release. Reminds me a little bit of Kevin Martin's release. I really like this kid, though, man. Coming off of screens, playing off ball, he can knock it down. Now, I think he's somebody the Lakers may be intrigued by, especially due to the fact that, like I said, he has 4 years under his belt. He's more seasoned, ready to come in and start contributing right away. Super athletic, explosive, can get to the basket, do a little bit of everything, man. But like I said, depends on what the Lakers are looking for. With the 28th pick, assuming we even keep it and not trade it, we have many options. This is just one of the options we have. I do like him. He has good defensive potential as well. He's 6'6". Again, can jump out the building. Super bouncy and explosive and strong player as well. Reminds me a little bit of Eric Gordon, maybe some Malcolm Brogdon in him. Of course, I don't expect him to get to that level, but you just never know. You know, some of these sleeper picks sometimes exceed our expectations, and sometimes they just live up to the hype or not. But I really like this kid a lot coming out of TCU. I think if he's available there for the Lakers, I wouldn't be shocked if they pick him up. Quick release, and I think he's going to be effective at the next level. Oof, now this guy right here, man, Tyler Terry. Talk about a sniper. Talk about somebody who can create for themselves. Somebody who shot, lights out from beyond the arc. And somebody who, even though he's just a freshman, maybe he won't get a lot of minutes, if the Lakers pick him up, if he's available with the 28th pick, the Lakers are definitely going to look at him. Last I heard, there's mutual interest. I think the Lakers already interviewed this kid. He reminds me a little bit of like a poor man Steph Curry. I mean, look at that form. That quick release, even the pose reminds me of Steph. And I'm going to show you a clip here a little bit later on how Steph comes off of screens and knocks down shots. This kid is very similar now. Maybe Trae Young-ish, maybe Steph Curry-ish, but again, I don't expect him to get to that level unless he develops properly. And playing under the Lakers, all we need him to do is come in and knock in shots. Maybe he won't get as many open looks. Maybe he won't get as many touches, period, because he's just a rookie. But who knows? I mean, Tyler Hero, he went off in the playoffs. And if this kid can, prove himself early on, starting with Summer League, if we even have one this year, I think this would be a good pickup right here. Tyler Terry. Now, even though he's just a freshman, the kid showed a lot of heart. The way he even attacks the rim, takes contact and finishes. I like his footwork, his handle. Look at that. Very crafty around the basket. And his playmaking ability is second to none. I think Tyler Terry can be a very good NBA player, depending on who drafts him. It may take him a little longer to arrive if the Lakers draft him because, like I said, we need players that are ready to come in and contribute right away. But Tyler Hero changed my aspect on rookies. Now, this guy right here, Paul Reed. This guy is one of my favorite defensive players coming out of college with a 7'2" wingspan. And he reminds me a little bit, again, reminds me. Doesn't mean he's going to become that. But it reminds me of Pascal Siakam. If his offensive game can develop, his defensive game is there, man. 1.9 steals per game, 2.2 blocks. Absolute monster for DePaul. And I think he's somebody who gets out in transition. He's explosive, athletic, can finish with the best of them. This kid has a bright future, again, depending on who drafts him. But he's a little more seasoned than Tyler Terry. And I definitely like his defensive potential and offensive potential. I think he's somebody who finishes well around the basket, gets out in transition. And this kid is just really exceptional, man. He's one of my favorite players coming out of this draft, especially around where we're picking. If we pick him up, I'd be ecstatic. I mean, you know, he would fit right in like a glove to our coaching staff's defensive schemes. I mean, Frank Vogel would take this kid under his wing, and I expect him to get minutes right off the bat. He could definitely, remember, Laker Nation has been clamoring for some defensive relief for LeBron James around the perimeter. You know, what better than a 6'9" guy who plays the passing lines, like similar to Trevor Reeves a little bit, reminds me. But again, these are just comparisons. Doesn't exactly mean they ever turn out, really. I mean, most comparisons never really pan out. They end up being different players, but similarities is what we look for when we draft players. And this kid, his slashing game is really good. Just needs to work on that jumper. If he ever gets a consistent one, we may be talking all-star potential, because he could become a two-way player. But again, a lot matters on who drafts him and how patient they are with these kids, because sometimes, like we know, the Laker fan base expects production right off the bat, and if you don't, they're, you know, calling for your head, which is you know, it's normal. You play for the Lakers. Now, Jayden McDaniels is my favorite prospect on this list. Why? He has a 7-foot wingspan. He's 6'10" and reminds me a lot of Brandon Ingram. Now, again, doesn't mean he's going to reach that potential, but if he does, if he gets up there, imagine getting a Brandon Ingram type player with the 28th pick. His floor to me is not even that bad. It's like Jonathan Isaac, but he's 6'10". He could face up, take you off the dribble. He has great handles for a 6'10" guy, and I think he's the highest risk, high reward guy on this list, meaning, of course, you risk wasting the pick on somebody who's going to be too raw and becomes the next Devin Ebanks. Sure. Or he could pan out and he could become a face-up monster, maybe even all-star potential. But I really am excited about this draft, guys, because, you know, without the NCAA tournament, a lot of these guys' draft stock would have rose. And I think we're going to get an absolute steal with the 28th pick, especially knowing our front office and how we loved getting gems late in the first or early second round, like Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance. We're just great evaluators of talents, and I'm looking forward to this draft now. This is going to be my final pick in this list, but still, I would be ecstatic if we got this kid. Now, this kid is not ready. He's more raw than the rest on the list, but we can afford to make a risky pick because we are the champions, and we may not even have to rely a lot on this rookie depending on how free agency goes. So there's going to be absolutely no pressure for a kid to come in and carve out his niche. I mean, similar to how Talon Horton-Tucker was able to come in and just, you know, play freely. And he didn't get too many minutes, but again, not a lot is expected from rookies on a championship team. Anything they give is like a cherry on top. It's a bonus. And this kid, I think, has the highest potential from everybody that you just saw on the list. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. If I missed anybody, you guys have any suggestions, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button and subscribe if you already haven't, guys. Again, very excited for the draft. I will be covering it live with you guys, so I'll catch you guys on the next one.